Alright guys, here's the gear for today. As usual, for Austere August, using the same stuff. B13 knot from Declaration Grooming. Handle is by Dogwood Handcrafts and Briar Brushworks. Timeless stainless steel 68 gap open comb razor. The Nacet blade is in it. This is how many uses. We must be on 568 now, today. And Chiseled Face Midnight Stag is the soap, and it will be used for a kind of a standard bowl lather today. And we will use the cologne and splash of the same scent. So, show you the blade, the Nacet. Markings and all that stuff. Even an old blade like this, I'm careful of the edges. Alright, get my face wet, and then we'll start on my face. You know, I was kind of tempted to do maybe for today's, run, to maybe do some kind of dry lather at first, and then make it wet on purpose to see if at first it might be nicer to have something drier on my face for that first pass to kind of work away the oils of my face and that sort of thing. But then I remembered I've done that before by accident, and it's just this dry stuff that's on my face. So, nah, let's just do a normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 usually has done me well. Kind of a normal bowl lather. Let's just see if it works out that way today. I have left the soap here with the lid, and if I'm going to do that again, I can just go ahead and cap it right now. Normally I would, when I'm using different soaps each day, I will tighten the lid all the way, but I do it at the end of the shave where some of the water has evaporated. But since I'm going to use this tomorrow, I'm going to loosen, like maybe a full turn, so I get a little bit of airflow in there, and so then we're not going to have any problems with moisture and all that. I continue to use the Blackland shave towel, and this is a white towel, and you can see what happens. I don't know if the camera will show you the brown kind of staining. But, I mean, this is a soap that is kind of a dark brown color, so that's just going to happen, right? And I don't mind. All right. I guess you just wait and use that shaving towel with only soaps without any vanillin or, the colorings that tend to stain things. Some people are conscious about their Badger brushes, and if they have nice tips, then they may not want to use the nice brushes with something dark like Midnight Stag or other type soaps that have those ingredients in them that tend to discolor other objects. I'm going to go ahead and add a little water, not quite as much as hopefully I did the other day where I just ended up with a lather that was too wet. I was looking around in an antique store today, and I saw some of the candy dishes. I think is what they would be. It's basically a small bowl, and then it's got but it's raised, and so it's got a shaft and then almost like a wine glass, the bottom of a wine glass, and then it expands out to be the stand to kind of keep that a little higher. And I thought, you know what? That could be a good shaving bowl, a good lather bowl. And, you know, right now I'm holding the bowl like this, but I had one of those bowls, I could, you know, hold it like this. Kind of like the Saponificio Veracino. They make a wooden lather bowl, but I don't think it's big enough for me. I think it's smaller than this dimension here by enough to where I don't think I would like it. But it comes with a removable handle that goes on the bottom. And I really thought I might like that bowl until I realized that the size was probably going to be problematic for me. So I saved myself some money by doing some test runs in smaller bowls, like that were in my kitchen or whatever. But the candy dishes and they were going to cost $20, $30 because that antique store is a little on the overpriced side. I did find one, and plus if the wine glass, it's called a stem, at least on a wine glass it is, coming from the bottom, if it's just straight and kind of small and thin, then it might be hard to kind of hold on to as I am doing this kind of motion, right? And so we sure would hate for it to break. I've always wondered about maybe having some kind of goblet, like a pimp cup or something like that, that was this size on the top. And then, you know, it was ostentatiously festooned with, you know, fake jewels and things like costume jewelry just to be funny, you know, and it would have a stem on it and all that. Well, this lather's looking pretty good. This is taking a minute to come together as it started out airy and all that. Let's just go ahead and go with it. And if you notice, we don't have a ton of lather. In the first few weeks, I was always generating almost an entire bowl full of lather. So that's one of the nice things about using the same stuff over and over. I've been able to kind of dial in the amount I'm loading. Now on my face, let's kind of re-moisturize. Probably go a little wetter. See, I'm feeling the backbone of the bristles. They're not, you know, in a slick way interacting with each other and splaying as easily. And you can see, I'm sure you guys have experienced this. I mean, the lather's pretty much dying, right? It's just disappearing. Well, guess what's happening? What's going on here is that I didn't pre-wash my face. And so one of the things is the oils that were on my face. I just have a really oily complexion. They're kind of killing the lather. So you can just go back in and dip in with it. If you didn't have enough water or if you didn't load enough soap, then that can also, you know, have that same problem. But I'm just going to go dip back in, and you see now that that first kind of bit has dealt with my skin oils, then now it's looking back normal. And so in a way, if you don't use a little bit of soap to pre-wash your face, then you're going to kind of, if you have a complexion like me, you're going to be using some of your lather to kind of wash your face. All right, everything's tightened down. Showed you the blade, 568 uses now. About to hit 570. How about that? Oh yeah, nice movement through the hair. So this is a good, it's a good mix of lather, nice and slick. So my HVAC unit, can't remember if I told you guys, it was having some issues and it was leaking. In the process of selling my house, and the you know, obviously a leaky HVAC is a problem for potential buyers, something to kind of keep them away, and we don't want that. And so turned out to be the condensation lines were clogging up and causing it to back up into the unit and then leak out of the unit. The condensation was. So those white pipes that come out of the back of your house, at least in America, I mean, I'm sure in other countries, if you do have air conditioning, what a blessing that is, you know, you've got to have condensation lines coming out of your heat pump or whatever you use for your AC. It's a good practice if you're a homeowner to go to those lines and vacuum them out with a shop vac. Maybe every 6 months, at least once a year. Especially if you have pets. If you have pets, I'd say do it every 6 months. Pets that shed and have dander. Or if you've just had painters come through your house and you've had some sanding and, you know, dust all in your house. Some of it will get trapped by the filters that you have on your unit, on your intake, but not all of it will. And so if you get a shop vac and, you know, a wet, dry vacuum cleaner, shop vac is our, kind of in America, what we have. The brand name that's really popular. And just put that on those white exterior hoses, pipes. And if you're unsure which ones it is, then just Google it. But you can do it I mean, you can do it monthly if you wanted to, but it'll save you. It'll save you money because you won't be needing to call your HVAC guy out when your stuff quits working. And that's a common problem. We had a guy come out and look at it, and he looked at the unit, saw it was leaking. He said, "Oh, it's your condensation lines." I mean, it was almost like he was 12 feet away, and he just knew. And so I vacuumed him out. He was a nice guy. It was really cool. He's telling me, "Listen, I'll do it for you, but it's going to cost you a ton of money, and all you need to do is go and vacuum these things on the back of your house." And so I appreciate his being kind to my wallet and letting me be the one to vacuum them out. And so, just want to pass that word along to you. I bet you can find a YouTube video if you're curious that'll show you about that. But it's a nice homeowner tip to prevent problems in your drain lines for your HVAC condensation. And it's never going to be a problem for you to do it. If they're empty, then it's not going to damage your lines or anything like that. And if they are starting to get a little bit clogged with, you know, just dust or grunge, then the vacuum will help you out. Mine were, since they're drain lines, they're smaller pipes. They were about 1 inch in diameter, the outer diameter. But it's really funny, during this little task, I learned that, at least in America, in the U.S., it'll say, when you go to the store to buy that kind of pipe, it says 3/4 inch, even though the outside diameter is 1 inch, and technically a little bit more than 1 inch, like 1 1/16 or something like that. And I wondered if maybe that pipe was named initially by the interior diameter, and the standard pipe might have had a thicker outer wall, and so the interior would have been smaller, and so I could see that as being maybe 3/4. So I don't know why the measurement of the pipe and the name it's under is so much smaller than the outer diameter, but I'm sure there's a good reason for it. So there's another pass, and this is going to be either 4 or 5, and it'll pretty much round off our shave with very little soap, very little lather left. So in terms of conserving soap and only using up how much we need, then this shave is pretty much perfect. I wouldn't really want to try to narrow it down to end up with less than this in the bowl, because it's just kind of skimpy, and it's more problematic. That's just going to be like a 1/100th of a cent of soap that's left right there. And if I want some luxury goo right here, I can just do that. And rake some of that off in my hand and put it on my face like that if I really want. And this lather that I just put on my face wasn't really luxury goo. It was the same lather that I've been using. So it was well mixed. So that's a good test. It wasn't any more dense than the rest of my lather that was outside the brush. And that's not good or bad. It's just maybe your technique, your system doesn't really want to have a homogeneous lather mixture. That's all up to you. It's subjective. Slurry lather is not homogeneous until the very end. And if you go really fast, it may never get homogeneous. Oh, there we go. That's a good stroke. I've been kind of dealing with, I keep talking to you guys about going slow until you figure out your directions, your strokes, where you want them to go, and then let your muscle memory help you out from there to make you faster. Focus on going slow so that you get the right pressure, the right technique in terms of pressure and angle, and directional stroke. Like I have recently in the past year learned that this little section right at the corner of my jaw, I used to be shaving like this, and that was not right. That's really kind of a with the grain stroke. And so I was leaving that area right there, especially with an older blade like this. With a new blade, even that kind of stroke was getting it cut very nicely. And so that's kind of why it went so long unnoticed. But then with this blade, I really need to attack things in a kind of a couple of cross-grain directions because it's so kind of dull-ish. And that caused me to realize and figure out that, hey, there's this part right here I need to take a special movement to attack. And so just today, I found my hand kind of doing a natural I did this first because that's my cross-grain right there. And then I used almost like a pivot point was right here. And then I used that in kind of that stroke, and it was very natural. It didn't feel awkward at all, but then it covered this whole area in the right direction. And then I was able to move on in a very natural way, whereas before it was kind of awkward. And so now it has become kind of smooth flowing. So how much water did I add to that lather? Just 15 milliliters. Of course, the brush was medium wet, I'd say fairly wet to start with. So that amount of water combined with the 15 milliliters got me this lather with a 10 swirl load. 10 swirls. So, we're in good shape. Let me rinse, and then I guess it might be the first time to use the new Chiseled Face Splash. It looks so dark. It looks so rich. Well, my shirt is not clean, but my face is rinsed nicely. Razor has been opened partly and rinsed out. And now the splash. Chiseled Face Midnight Stag in this cool little bottle. I like the look of this. It's got kind of more of a vintage vibe than the other one. And let's see if my skin can tell the difference between the splash a few years old, maybe even several years old. Alcohol is a wonderful preservative, and so I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't too much difference. But no, this has a better scent. I'm able to pick up more of the true Midnight Stag scent through the menthol. So I wonder if they may have changed their formulation, or maybe it's just age. I mean, it could be the age, but those kind of roasty wood notes, smoky wood, I didn't get those from before. Could the menthol concentration be different? I don't know. Nice, nice. That's just terrific, because that's a part of the scent that, I wasn't getting really from the soap or the splash before. And it's coming through really nicely in this version. So that's terrific, because those notes I was only able to get through the cologne, and the cologne can be pricey. And so I'm glad to know people that might order the Midnight Stag now and aren't sure about the cologne and get the splash. Now they're going to get some good notes that will help them to really know what the scent's supposed to smell like. Nice. Oh, that smells so good. All right. Excellent. I'm going to clean up my gear. And so that was a pretty, it did take a bit of mixing to get the lather to work all together. If I had not mixed for that long, okay, this was a really wet mix, but it was nice and slick. So it may be about my optimum hydration level for this soap base. That's just how I have to take this one to make it really slick. It's just messy that way. If I had not mixed it for as long, then it would have been watery in places and thick in some other places, and it would not have been nearly as good. It would have been even more of a mess, and then certain parts of the shave would not have been as slick. So it looks like that's kind of as long as this particular formulation is going to take in terms of mixing time. And I think with this splash, the menthol didn't give me as much of an initial burn when I put it on, but I am still feeling that kind of burn now. It's not it's a little unpleasant. I've always felt it more of as a burn rather than a cooling sensation, but it's not too bad. And it may be a little nicer than the previous iteration I was using of the splash. And I just kind of got used to it. In a way, that's good. But I love the fact that the scent is more full-bodied, and I get the whole part of the notes because of that. So I'm really happy about that. I think that we don't really have too much more information for you for this one. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Just heard an announcement. My friend over HD Shaves, he and the guy from, it's not Seaforth, Spearhead Shaving. And no, so that would be Seaforth. I think Spearhead is the guys that is the guy that took over with the Seaforth name. I'm just having a little brain fart right now. And so they are joining up and doing HD is a jazz musician. He plays the organ in a jazz group, and they're going to make an album, and it's a collaboration effort with Spearhead Shaving, because he's a musician as well. And I don't know how they're going to bring shaving into it, or maybe it's just musicianship. Maybe it's just certain sounds. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm going to be watching it with anticipation. I think later on in the fall it's going to be released, September or October. You can check out the recent post about, the title of it is Collaboration, and it's on Reddit with the subreddit of wet shaving. So it'd be reddit.com/r/wet shaving. And then look for a recent post entitled Collaboration, and Ironbeard Sis is I think is the author, and he's the one who was talking about it. Just in case you like jazz, and if you're curious, and I always support HD Shaves. He's a great guy, and he face lathers more than I do. That's kind of I think that's his chosen mode. He's got lots of good videos online. He's smart as well, so I think he's another great guy to watch if you like watching videos on shaving, which is really kind of a funny thing, isn't it? That guys would be online watching shaving videos. I've watched my share of them. In the beginning, I watched a lot to learn technique and that sort of thing, and I enjoy presenting my information that I've learned to you guys, and it seems to be helping people. And it's great to hear how my videos are helping, and just makes it extra special. Even if nobody sent me anything, I might be putting out videos anyway, because my initial starting thought with my channel was that I wouldn't really have too many subscribers. It would just be more like a research channel where I would just log my shaves, kind of like I do. But then if somebody was looking for a certain soap and maybe a certain brush or something, some certain product that they might be able to, that my video might be indexed so they could find it. And then they would, maybe they'd get some extra info about it. I didn't really expect to get subscribers. And so the relationships that I've had with you guys who are regular viewers has been a very special surprise that I did not know was going to happen when I first started this channel. So thank you so much for just interacting over the years. I do appreciate it a lot. So there we go. Support HD Shaves, and if you want to go find that post on Reddit, then you can do that. I'll try to remember to put some info about that in the description of the video. And there we go. I think that'll do it for today. Tomorrow, 569 will be the number. I always like the 8 position, because it's the part where you're really within reach of the end. When you're at the 6th position, you're more than halfway, but you still got a ways to go to finish off that group of 10 shaves, And when you hit 7, you're a little closer, but it's still kind of far away. But I like it when you hit 8, because when you do hit 8, you get to make a dot in the 8th place, like that. And now look, there's only 2 more spots in that 10 grouping, and that's really close before that 10 is now done. And so it always just feels nice when I get to the 8th shave of each dectet. An octet would be if it was a grouping of 8, each group of 10. So anyway, there we go. So we got the dot on there for tracking everything. Take care now. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.